Welcome, citizens. So we've had 3.10 out for a couple of weeks now. We've been jumping into it as much as we can, and I think it's time for us to do our usual review for it. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so as usual, we'll break this down into its kind of component groups, and first up is locations, in which we had new shop additions at New Babbage and Grim Hex improvements. So I'm not sure your thoughts on this, but the new shop additions at New Babbage were kind of bleh for me. There was one shop really added where you can go and get a different coloured Moby glass. Yeah, don't really care about that personally. Most of the time you don't even see it. Actually, you never see it, so I don't really understand the point of it. Maybe they're just testing some kind of customization options, but I think they could have picked a bunch of better options than this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it seems a bit of a waste of resources. Like you said, if they've got a reason for it, that's fine. But yeah, it just seems wasted to have an additional random shop that really no one cares about. No,
the shop itself was kind of cool. They've laid it out like an Apple store, which I guess is okay. There was some kind of SimPod things in there, which was kind of interesting. You know, suggesting that they could be injecting Arena Commander and Star Marine actually into the PU universe, so that you have to kind of link up to one of these SimPods to actually use those game modes.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Kind of interesting, but yeah, overall, I just don't really understand the point of it, and yeah, I think it was a waste.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why anyone would try to improve Grim Hex. It's a shithole. But I mean, it looks good and everything. I mean, they have done a reasonable job. We had a walk around it pretty early on, and it looks okay. I mean, I to be honest, I walk around it and I don't really notice it that much.
No. Most of the improvements were done to the. They added the big cargo, big hangars. So really big ships can be spawned there. But
yeah,
I'm not sure if I agree with that. Part of me thinks that they probably should have left it as it was, and it had that kind of quirk where you can't land or spawn massive ships there.
Yeah,
I think it was a bit more fitting. It seems like they've added these massive hangars just to appease a few traders that want to drop off a shit ton of cargo there, but I don't think anyone else really is really bothered about it.
No, and I think with Grim Hex as well, I mean, yeah, fair enough. Maybe you will get some nefarious people in giant ships, but I don't know. It seems like the whole place is more suited to a smaller vessel. You know what I mean? And yeah, it doesn't like, as far as the lore goes, it doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, we'll see.
The other addition they put in there was the kind of racing, gambling deck, I suppose you call it, but there's no racing in there yet because they haven't released that. They seem really hot on getting racing into the verse, and they've tried it a couple of times now, and I don't know if it really sticks. I think a few people do it and enjoy it, but the majority of people don't even bother.
No, I never really saw the fascination with it. I don't know, it was kind of fun-ish, but I can understand it with people who've bought racing ships, yeah, and that's what they want to do. But yeah, it's not something that's really ever appealed to me, so it's hard for me to judge it because of that. Not my cup of tea, really.
Yeah. I suppose it would be a good location for races with all the asteroids around it. Presents some obstacles that you have to go around, which is okay, I guess. You could have made a racing hub somewhere else, but I kind of understand their reasoning for trying to put it in an asteroid belt. I kind of get it, but Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with using resources and that kind of thing right now. But yeah, like you say, there are people with racing ships, and I'm sure they're going to be really happy about it when the actual mechanics come in.
Yeah, one day.
One day. So next up we had the AI improvements. So we had FPS combat weapon types, a cover usage version 1, and the bartender, the infamous bartender.
Yeah, so it's interesting to actually see the weapon types, because I never really noticed actually before really that they were all just kind of using, I think like the P4 or whatever it was back in the day, and I didn't even notice actually that anyone was shooting at me with any other guns until I started dragging a dude and realised he had a shotgun in his hands. I was like, awesome, that's cool.
yeah, it's good to get some actual weapon variety in there. There's been a couple of times where I've actually taken one of the NPCs down and swiped their weapon, loaded it onto my ship, because that's a kind of persistence now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got a couple of extra guns lying around in my ship just in case, which is kind of cool to have that kind of variety. I've only seen 2 weapon types, however. They've either got the assault rifle or they've got the Ravager shotgun. I've never seen any other variant of weapon, so hopefully they expand on that.
Yeah, I hope so, because the actual description is the ability for the combat AI to engage the player using a wider arsenal of weaponry. And I guess adding one more weapon is wider, but that is very loosely using that word, let me tell you.
Yeah, definitely. So cover usage, I actually think that was a good addition. We've noticed it a few times in bunker missions and the 890 jump rescue mission that we've done a few times now. But they actually do try to use cover. They don't necessarily always use it the best way and actually shoot back at you, but they do actually hide behind cover sometimes now. Yeah,
I mean, I've seen them, being daft and being the wrong side of cover, so they're essentially kind of just crouched down by a box looking at you. But it makes such a difference. Like when you used to come down the stairs and the 890 jump, and there'd just be like 3 dudes standing in the middle of a hangar.
Yeah,
like why would you do that? That is logically makes no sense. And now to see them crouched by boxes and stuff, it does just give it that element of realism, and I really like that.
Yep, 100% agree. I think that's a great addition, and I look forward to when they kind of tweak it a bit and improve it.
Yeah.
Now the bartender is an odd one. I understand the logic of doing it, and I understand why they're trying to get it in as quickly as possible, to sort of test those kind of interactions so they can be added to other shops and whatever. However, every time I've tried to interact with a bartender, it's not worked, or it's just gone really, really wrong. Strangely wrong. So although this has had like a year in the oven, I feel like it needs more time in the oven. Yeah,
a lot of these sorts of things are going to be so hit and miss when it comes to NPC interactions with players. I think that they definitely do need to give this guy a little bit more time to learn his craft, because a lot of the times he just sort of blankly stares at you, and it just doesn't work. So it's a shame as well, because they have really touted this and really wanted this to be a feature. It'd be interesting actually to hear in the comments if anyone's had like consecutive successful bartender experiences.
Yeah, I definitely haven't, so it would be good to hear some comments of people that have had a good experience with him. Okay, that kind of brings us on to the big meat and potatoes of this patch, which is gameplay. And there is quite an extensive list of actual gameplay additions that they've put in. I suppose starting with the player app, the player trading app, which is a much wanted and much requested feature, and has seemed to have been pretty good. I've had one experience where someone was trying to send me some money, and it just never appeared. It went out of his account, but never appeared in mine. So it's not completely foolproof yet, but definitely a good step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's not far off. I mean, I've had money sent to me a couple of times, only test amounts and stuff, but it's worked, and it was one of those things where it seems like such a simple thing to want, but it's such a necessary thing to have. Yeah, I'm really pleased now that they've actually got this kind of working.
Okay, the other the other one, there's actually quite a few big ones here. Turret and gunnery improvements, I can say, is a very good addition. The new turret HUDs and mechanics, although it took some kind of learning curves for us, especially because there was lots of changes to the targeting system in this patch. I think it changed 3 or 4 times over the course of a couple of weeks, which made testing a complete nightmare. But now they've settled on one. It's I'm getting used to it now. I wasn't too hot on it at the very beginning, but now that we've played around with it a bit, I'm slowly getting used to it.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to really like the idea of being in a turret. I haven't enjoyed it previously, and I don't really enjoy it now. But I can definitely say that the improvements they've made are improvements. It's definitely a nicer experience to be in a turret now. The HUD looks better. The targeting, once you get the knack of it, makes sense. Being able to actually target stuff is nice. And just generally, just the feel of the turret just seems a little bit more sturdy. They were very floaty before, and it just seems like, I don't know, everything feels a bit tighter in it now. So yeah, it's definitely better, but I wouldn't choose to be a turret gunner, I'll be honest.
No. I do like that they've added the fixed weapon kind of aim assist on it.
Yeah,
I guess you call it. I think that was a good addition. Really needs to be on the turrets. It can be quite hard to actually hit a target while your ship's flying around all over the place, but with that aim assist, it actually makes it a bit easier and a bit more enjoyable.
Definitely. I mean, the fact that you're spinning one way, the ship's spinning another way, you're trying to counteract the way the ship's spinning, it can make it a real nightmare. So having that does just make it that little bit easier to kind of get your head around.
I guess that kind of brings us on to the new targeting methodology and this new got the ship HUD rework. You got the atmospheric flight mechanics now.
Yeah.
The new high-speed combat thing. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot kind of ties into this, and overall, I'm quite liking the new flight model, the new HUD, the new targeting, everything. It's all kind of linking together a bit more smoother than it was in the past.
Yeah, definitely agree. Everything seems, once you get the knack of it, and once you kind of got your head around all the controls, which are so vastly different or so very similar, like moving something from J to K, it is almost like a joke.
Yeah.
So you're forever going J and it goes chaff. No chaff. It definitely feels more fluid now when you're targeting and shooting stuff. And I must admit, I got to the point, and people probably saw it in streams, where I actually really did enjoy just being a passenger or being in a ship that wasn't really combat worthy, because combat just felt a bit meh to me. But I'm enjoying it now in 3.10. I'm definitely liking getting in a smaller ship and shooting people again.
Yeah. We also had an Electron Damage type added to the game, along with a couple of weapons that actually use it. And from what I've tested, the Electron Damage is kind of interesting. How it charges up the target, and then you hit them again, and they kind of explode. It's interesting. I find it a bit easy especially when you're shooting NPCs, because they really kind of get stunned by this, more so than the other weapons I've found anyway.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're going to dial that back a bit, but yeah, they're cool, I guess.
Yeah, it works. It's nice to see.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure why they invented this electron damage in the first place. I guess it's to sort of aim towards kind of stun weaponry for bounties and kidnappings and what have you. But
yeah.
And the other big one we had was the restricted area rework, which I know has caused a lot of pain to people, especially trying to leave major landing zones with those kind of landing spline things.
Yeah.
I haven't had too many issues with those. I did have one incident where I overflew it, tried to fly through the wall of the spline to join it, and the AI decided it was going to take my ship over and fly me back to the beginning. So I had to it was kind of weird. I didn't really understand why it chose to do that, but whatever. I don't know, what's your thoughts on these splines? Do you see these actually kind of being useful, or are they just some kind of flashy thing they've put in that doesn't really serve a function?
I think it's a mixture of the two, because I think that you could do away with those and it would be perfectly fine. I could understand having splines and things like that if, for example, there was this constant humdrum of NPC ships coming in and out, and it felt busy. Because you imagine an airfield, they've got, say, like 20 runways, and they have to make sure that no plane is coming in at the same, on the same heading, same path as another. I keep trying to not say shit on another plane, and it's the same thing here. You've got all these different vehicles coming in, and they have to just make sure that at no point is one going to hit the other. So it makes sense, and for a realism aspect, sort of point of view, that makes sense. But I think the way they've implemented it is a bit weird, because I had the same problem as you. I come out of the hangar, I looked around, because obviously you're not immediately facing the spline. Couldn't see the spline, so I kind of went up, and then I found myself next to my spline, and so I just flew into it. And because I did that, it tried to redirect me, but it flew me into a floating bit of one of them signs over ArcCorp. Was it ArcCorp? Yeah, and it flew me into one of those signs, and I blew up. And I'm like, thanks. That's the first time I'd managed to get my freelancer out without crashing, and you crashed me. So it annoyed me, and after that I was like, I hate them, but I do see their purpose, and I think that they will be worth having when these hubs get really busy with ships.
Yeah, hopefully you're right. Hopefully we get to see that at some point, where there's tons of NPC ships coming in, so much that you can't really see a way through it. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, a bit like Fifth Element.
Yeah. And that brings us nicely onto the new ships of this patch. But then I say ships kind of loosely, because we didn't get any new ships this patch.
No, just colourful versions of what we already had.
Yeah, and a mining ground vehicle. Yeah. So we got the Archimedes Emerald, which, like you say, is just a reskin. Like, okay, cool. I like Kruger ships, so that's okay. I just kind of wish it was a brand new ship. That would be nice. And we got the M50 Improvements, which it definitely needed, but I really thought that they were going to do a full rework on that ship, because if you actually look at the ship itself, it's fairly dated now compared to some of the newer ships we've had. You can tell, and I really thought that they would do a full rework, but they just kind of updated the cockpit, and that was it really.
Yeah, seems a shame as well, because I can see that ship. If they'd just given it a rework instead of just the improvements, I think that ship has a lot of potential. I think at the minute it's so angular at certain points that it's almost messy to look at. And I think that they could have neatened it and just made it look a little bit more streamlined, especially for a racer. And but that's my other point as well, is that did we really need to improve a ship that like 5% of the fan base use? If that that sounds really mean, and I'm sorry, M50 owners, but you know.
Yeah. I see your point. Yeah, I mean, they've kind of slowly been reworking some of the older ships, like the Freelancer and what have you, and the Cutty Black. But some of the other older ships really do need to get sorted out, like the Hornet.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't done the Hornet. The Starfarer is just a nightmare and needs a complete redo, in my opinion.
Oh god, yeah, that thing is just hideous to look at.
But yeah, I mean, fair enough. They want to update them. Yeah, I'm 50% with you on the do we need this right now kind of aspect of that.
Yeah,
not sure, but yeah, it did need attention. Hopefully they can kind of put it aside and leave it as is. Hopefully the M50 owners are happy now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm pleased for the M50 owners, because there's so many people who own ships that have just been left by the wayside, look like a pile of dog shit, or you know, just really need some attention and aren't getting it. And so it's nice when at least a ship is getting shown some love, you know, because they're so desperate to bring out new ships for money that people who've paid their money for what was essentially a half-assed attempt really, do deserve it.
Yeah, and as we said, the only new I can't say ship because it's not a ship. The only new vehicle we got was the Rock, the old ground miner. Now I've kind of expressed my opinions about this thing several times over on Discord. Concerning various things about it. I like it. I think it's a really cool little vehicle to add in. But I was one of the people that voted for the refining ship that we still don't have. Which we were kind of promised that they were going to work on first. Well, not promised. They did kind of allude to the fact that we could vote and they might not kind of go with what we chose. But I'm of the mind, if you're not going to do if you're going to ask the community to vote on something and they vote on something and then not follow through with it, then what's the point?
Yeah. I wonder if it's because the fear. Because do you remember the last ship that people voted on?
Yeah.
Which I believe was the
Redeemer.
The Redeemer. And then there was uproar and anger. People going, but what about that? And no, that's crap, and we want this. And they can't win either way, so maybe they're just a bit scared.
But again, then they shouldn't have included it in the vote if they're that scared of it.
I think that was just to get us involved and make us feel powerful again for 5 minutes, and it worked because we were so hyped. Do you remember us all sitting there like real time, because obviously we were there, and it was so exciting. And then like a few months later,
nothing.
Okay, thanks. Well, I say a few months, it's been half a year now, but still, it's frustrating. And I like the Rock. I think it's a cool vehicle. I know they obviously need to test that aspect of mining, to have a smaller mining kind of in between hand mining and ship mining. But I don't think it was as necessary as other things are at the moment. I think that they could have done so much more with their time, and it was a little bit wasted. But it's still cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there, and that was part of the reason why we voted on the refinery ship, because we wanted to push the idea that we want refining mechanics in the game. Yeah. So give us a refining ship. But yeah, apparently they didn't care about that.
No.
So next up, we've got the weapons. We've already kind of discussed the Electron sniper rifle and the pistol briefly. They're kind of cool. They look very interesting, actually, considering very kind of different to any kind of weapon that we've got in the universe at the moment.
Yeah, I really like the sniper rifle. I think that looks awesome.
It's got a really cool kind of bolt mechanic where you find you've got to pull the bolt back to like charge the next shot up. That's quite cool. I also quite like the Gemini C54 Ballistics Smg. It's quite a nifty little weapon. Doesn't have a massive amount of punch on it, but it throws out so many bullets, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It is quite fun having that SMG type in game, because it's fast. You know, it's very much, you know, like if you get to that close to mid-range type distance from someone, you can really affect their day very quickly with the amount of bullets that you can put in them, which is very, very nice.
100%. I've done a couple of bunker missions now with that weapon. Put a silencer on it, and they really don't know what's going on. It's great.
Yeah. Fast and silent.
And last up, we got the Klaus and Werner Sledge Mass Driver revision, which was kind of needed. They were quite broken before this, and now they're a bit more realistic. The new sound effects are kind of cool as well, and I like the look of the guns much better than what they were. So overall, pretty good revision on those.
Yeah, I'm just glad to see the back of them, because I said those names God knows how many times, you know, so it's just nice not to have to say them all again.
Yeah. So core tech, we got the ocean shader improvement, which was I mean, it does look good. I can't deny that. It's no Sea of Thieves water, but they're getting there, and it is a definite improvement over that the crappy texture that we used to have. Yeah,
definitely. And it's one of those things it is needed, because there's nothing in this game really at the moment. You've got these vast kind of wildernesses with nothing in them. So if you are going to go exploring and just flying, it is nice that things look pretty, which I can kind of get now. You know, we were moaning the other day about how, you know, they're making it too pretty, too fast, and not enough core mechanics. But you can kind of see why, because there isn't much to do. People just fly around looking at stuff, and so it is nice to have that kind of a little bit more realistic look to the water. But like you said, it would be amazing if they can get it down to like Sea of Thieves level. Imagine imagine a crash landing in a big ship that floats. And it's all like crazy ocean waves, and you're trying to like do repairs or something. I don't know. It'd just be, there's so much potential for this game. It makes me sad and happy all at the same time. I don't know how.
Well, apparently they are starting to work on buoyancy in 3.11.
Yes.
I say apparently because they haven't started on it yet, and we're about a month and a half away from 3.11, so we'll see if we actually get that or not. But yeah, hopefully once they get some buoyancy on the water, then we can start looking at maybe we can be able to swim in it. That would be nice.
That would be cool, yeah.
And last up for this patch, we had the height map improvements, which has been fairly noticeable on some of the moons. You can definitely see some of the mountain ranges and that have been stretched up a bit, and they are a lot more visually impressive than what they used to be. Before you would see a mountain, that looks cool, but it doesn't really go that high, does it? Really?
No.
But now they're starting to reach some more extreme heights with this stuff, and it's changing the landscape. And it, overall, I can't really fault it. It's the improvements are visible, and I approve.
Yes, we approve this message. It definitely does make a big difference. And that was the problem before, is that you go, right, a mountain, I'll go over there, and then you get there and you're like, it's more of a hill. Now they are, you know, actual mountains, and they look a bit more imposing, which you kind of want, especially when you get that kind of low sun, we'll call it, and you get those shadows stretching for miles, and that can make a big difference to the terrain when you've got these kind of massive peaks. Very, very impressed so far.
Yeah. So that kind of rounds out 3.10. Now, performance-wise, they didn't actually specify if there was any performance work done in this patch, but I kind of feel like there was, because I've had a few sessions now where I've had no problems at all, other than a couple of 30Ks when the patch just dropped. I've not had any 30Ks, and overall the performance seems a lot better than 3.9 for me.
I think the first week, let's say, of the patch was a bit ropey. We had a few 30Ks. People were having real issues with like loading in and stuff like that. But I have to say the same. They've definitely must have done some work to the performance, because the general performance of the game is much better, but the general performance of the servers is also much better. There's far less issues. There's still, the problem is there's still massive issues with playing in a group.
Yes.
And the majority of my play in Star Citizen is in a group. Occasionally I'll play it solo, but I'm not a solo player. I never have been. I play everything with people, and so there is still a lot of issues when it comes to grouping. But that aside, I think that the patch itself has performed really, really well, and definitely much better than 3.9, and probably better than, I'd say, the last 4 patches for me.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. Yeah, definitely the last 3, 100%. Yeah. Like you say, there's obviously still some issues. There's the occasional desync issue. We've had a few problems trying to get a group onto a server before. The biggest issue I've found in 3.10 has been the objects streaming in issue, which apparently they fixed, but I don't necessarily believe that, because I'm still having that problem where I'll be running through a building to find that the room in front of me hasn't spawned in yet, and I have to just stop and wait for it, which can take like 10 minutes. Which is ridiculous.
It's been much worse for you this patch, and it's been worse for other people as well, because no one's ever really moaned about it that we play with or that are on our Discord, like to the extent that you have, because you get it quite bad. But I've actually heard it from other people now. It's more of an effect on their game. So they've definitely done something weird to the object streaming. They must have done. Yep.
It's kind of, like you say, it's kind of been in there since object container streaming came in, and it's never really gone away. It did get really bad at the beginning of this patch, but it's a little bit better now. So fingers crossed that's a good indication that they're getting on top of it. But that's really the only big issue I've had with 3.10.
Yeah, the only real massive issue that I had is the past 2 times we've played, I've had actual moments where the game is frozen.
Okay.
For like, could be as long as 10 seconds.
Like proper lockup.
Yeah, just a full lockup to the point where I'm thinking, oh, do I have to Alt F4? What's going on here? And then eventually it comes back, and like once is okay, twice I'll accept, 3 times is annoying. But when it gets to like 10, 15, every 5 minutes, then it's too much. And that was really bugging me the last time we played. But I've never had it before, so I'm hoping that it's just some sort of a glitch that they'll iron out and it will just go away again. But that's really been my main concern, I'll say, this patch. Yeah.
Okay, so I suppose that moves us on to overall score for this patch. Where's your head at with this? What are your feelings?
Well, obviously 3.9 got very low score from me. I think I went with 2.
Yeah, I remember it being quite bad.
Yeah, it was really bad. But it was really bad. 3.9 was really bad for me. 3.10 so far. The PTU was a bit ropey, but then I always get I normally always get bad PTU, good release, or good PTU, bad release. Whereas this one's been kind of mediocre PTU, pretty good release. So it's breaking that pattern, which is odd. But so far, I think I'm sitting at around about a 3.5. I think.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I might even go as far as 4, which is really high. But I tell you for why. There's a couple of reasons. The first one is the gameplay. This is one of the biggest improvements to just general gameplay that we've had in a long time. The player trading, the body dragging, the overhaul of the flight mechanics, all of that stuff combined is at least worth 1.5 cow faces on its own. And so I think I'm pushing for a 4. And I tell you the other reason, the stream we had last week was one of my most fun streams. And that was because of body dragging.
Yeah.
It was hilarious just watching us just spend 2 hours dragging people in and out of ships and then through stations. It was so much fun, and it was so stupid. But that is the things you remember in these games are the stupid things you did. Yeah, I'm going to go 4.
It's funny you should bring up body dragging because I just remembered it, and we didn't really touch on it, did we? So,
no, I was holding it back.
Yeah. I do like the body dragging mechanic. It is quite funny, although extremely cumbersome and janky at the moment, especially when you drop your body every 5 seconds. It's really annoying.
It falls into the ground.
Yeah, but like you say, we did have a really good laugh with it in the past stream. I think we spent like over an hour just dragging dead bodies onto our ships for, why not?
Why not? Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, your overall score of 4. You're on 4. You're sticking with 4. Yeah.
I'm going to stick with 4, and I'm going to have a caveat at the end, but I'll stick with 4.
Okay. Well, it's interesting that you went with that number because I think I'm also at a 4.
Ooh, we agree.
We agree. Yeah. And like I say, the only real problem I've had is some slow streaming of objects and ships, ships, areas, anything really. Yeah. Taking everything into account, if that's really my only biggest gripe, then that's a fairly good patch in my book.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you on a 4, and CCG gives 3.10 a 4 out of 5.
Blimey. Would you Adam and Eve it? So my caveat, just because before you all get too excited, my caveat is that we have to remember that what we are scoring is just the patch itself, not the game in any way, shape or form, but the current released patch. And the reason I want to state that is because I still think that we are possibly at maybe the worst this game's been for quite a long time as far as the overall picture of this game. I'm talking from developers, from marketing, from PR, from the game itself, from Spectrum, everything. If you look at everything as a whole, I think we're at a very low point currently. And you are when mainstream media is talking about you in a negative fashion. So I think that even though it's 4 cow faces for this patch, if I had to give the game some cow faces at the minute, I'm going to be honest with you, it would be very low.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind, that even though we're saying it's a 4, we're not. If you're having real bad experiences, it swings and roundabouts. But it's for the patch. It's definitely a 4, because I can't fault the amount of work that must have gone into, especially the flight model, but some of the stuff they've done, and I am genuinely quite impressed with 3.10. So that was it. That was my little moan.
Yep, I agree with you on all points, and it's kind of funny that you mentioned like the patch overall would get a really low score as it is, and we kind of predicted this at the beginning of the year. We actually put a video out saying how this could be the worst year for Star Citizen. and
yeah,
it does seem to be going that way.
yeah.
We weren't right on all points, but a lot of the points we did bring up seem to be coming true. But yeah, overall this patch has been one of the best patch releases, in my opinion, that we've had since 3.0. Yeah, they've done a really good job on this one. Even though it was late, I get the feeling that all patches are going to be late now.
It's going to be a knock-on.
Yeah, just forever. It's never going to go away now. But yeah, overall, I think that they did a really good job, and I'm really enjoying this patch.
Yeah. So I think it's safe to say then that 3.10 is a big thumbs up, and we hope that everyone is really enjoying it as well. I mean, let us know in the comments if you're, what kind of issues have you had with 3.10, and what sort of like massive wins have you had with 3.10, because it's always really interesting to kind of hear. This is the one game where the differing play sessions, like, so I could literally be playing alongside someone else on our Discord having completely polar opposite experiences, and it's so weird. So it's always really good to hear when people are having a great time, and it's always nice to hear what problems you're having so that we can obviously get that out there.
Yeah,
so let us know.
100%. Yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments section, and yeah, if you agree, let us know. If you don't, let us know. And I guess that's all for now. So thanks very much for watching, guys, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.
Bye bye.